Okay, I'm live again. I'm getting a little tired, but I'm gonna finish off this chapter. It's only like 3 more pages. I'm gonna finish off this chapter. I'm gonna call it a night for this book. I'm gonna go back a little bit. I'm gonna do that like all the time. I'm gonna go back a little bit just in case you don't remember where we were, because a lot of people like to take breaks. So I just can't believe she's being like this. Clary said for the fourth time, chasing a stray bit of guacamole around her plate with the tip of a nacho. They were at a neighborhood Mexican joint, a hole in a wall called Nacho Mama. Grounding me every other week wasn't bad enough. Now I'm going to be exiled for the rest of the summer. Well, you know your mom gets like this sometimes, Simon said. Like when she breathes in or out. He grinned at her around his veggie burrito. Oh, sure. Act like it's funny, she said. You're not the one getting dragged off to the middle of nowhere for God knows how long. Clary, Simon interrupted her tirade. I'm not the one you're mad at. Besides, it isn't going to be permanent. How do you know that? Well, because I know your mom, Clary said. I said Clary. Simon says. That used to be the game back then. Simon said after a pause. I mean, you and I have been friends for 10 years now? I know she gets like this sometimes. She thinks better of it. Clary picked a hot pepper off her plate and nibbled the edge immediately, meditatively. Do you though? She said. Know her, I mean. I sometimes wonder if anyone does. Simon blinked at her. You lost me there. Clary sucked in air to breathe her to cool okay. Clary sucked in air to cool her burning mouth. I don't know where I got breathe. Um, yeah, I mean, she never talks about herself. I don't know anything about her early life or her family or much about how she met my dad. She doesn't even have wedding photos. It's like her life started when she had me. That's what she's always saying. She always says when I asked her about it. Oh, Simon made a face at her. That's sweet. No, it isn't. It's weird. It's weird that I don't know anything about my grandparents. I mean, I know my dad's parents weren't very nice to her, but could they have been that bad? What kind of people don't want to even meet their granddaughter? Maybe she hates them. Maybe they were abusive or something, Simon suggested. She does have those scars. Clary stared at him. She has what? He swallowed a mouthful of burrito. Those little thin scars all over her back and her arms. I have seen your mother in a bathing suit, you know. I never noticed any scars, Clary said decidedly. I think you're imagining things. He stared at her and seemed about to say something when her cell phone buried in her messenger bag began instant blaring. Clary fished it out, gazed at the numbers blinking on the screen, and scowled. It's my mom. I could tell from the look on your face. You're going to talk to her. Not right now, Clary said, feeling the familiar bite of guilt in her stomach as the phone stopped ringing and voicemail picked up. I don't want to fight with her. You can always stay at my house, Simon said, for as long as you want. Well, we'll see if she calms down first. Clary punched the voicemail button on the phone. Her mother's voice sounded tense, but she was clearly trying for lightness. Baby, I'm sorry if I sprang the vacation plan on you. Come on home and we'll talk. Clary hung up the phone before the message ended, feeling even guiltier and still angry at the same time. She wants to talk about it. Do you want to talk to her? I don't know. Clary rubbed the back of her hand across her eyes. Are you still going to the poetry reading? I promised I would. I promised I would. Clary stood up, pushing her chair back. Then I'll go with you. I'll call her when it's over. The strap of her messenger bag slid down her arm. Simon pushed it back up absently. His fingers lingered at the bare skin of her shoulder. The air outside was spongy with moisture. The humidity frizzing Clary's hair and and sticking Simon's blue T-shirt to his back. So what's up with the band? She said. Anything new? There was a lot of yelling in the background when I talked to you earlier. Simon's face lit up. Things are great, he said. Matt says he knows someone who could get us a gig at the scrap bar. We're talking about names again too. Oh yeah, Clary had a smile. Simon's band never actually produced any music. Mostly they sat around in Simon's living room fighting about potential names and band logos. So she sometimes wondered if any of them actually played an instrument. What's on the table? We're choosing between sea vegetable conspiracy and rock solid panda. Okay, them are the two weirdest names I ever heard. Clary shook her head. Those are both terrible. Thank you, Clary. Thank you. Eric suggested lawn chair crisis. Maybe Eric should stick to gaming, but then we'd have to find a new drummer. Oh, is that what Eric does? I thought he just mooched money off you and went around telling girls at school that he was in a band in order to impress them. Not at all, Simon said breezily. Eric has turned over a new leaf. He has a girlfriend. They've been going out for 3 months, practically married. Clary said stepping around a corner. A couple pushing a toddler in a stroller. Stepping around a couple pushing a toddler in a stroller. A little girl with yellow plastic clips in her hair was who was clutching a pixie doll with gold streaks, sapphire sapphire wings. Out the corner of her eye, Clary thought she saw the wings flutter. She turned her head hastily, which means, Simon continued, that I am the last member of the band not to have a girlfriend, which you know is the whole point of being in a band to get girls. I thought it was all about the music. A man with a cane cut around her path, heading for Berkeley Street. She glanced away, afraid that if she looked at anyone for too long, they would sprout wings, extra arms, or long forked tongues like snakes. Who cares if you have a girlfriend anyway? I care, Simon said gloomily. Pretty soon, the only people left without a girlfriend will be me and Wendell, the school janitor, and he smells like Windex. At last, at least you know he's still available. Simon glared. Not funny, Frey. Uh, there's always Shelia the thong bar Barbarino, Barbarino. I don't know. Clary suggested. Clary had sat behind her in math class in ninth grade. Every time Sheila had dropped her pencil, which had been often, Clary had been treated to the sight of Sheila's underwear riding up above the waistband of her super low rise jeans. That is who Eric's been dating for the last 3 months. Simon said. Meantime, was that I ought to just decide which girl in school has the most rockin' bod and ask her out on the first day of class. Eric is a sexist pig, Clary said, suddenly not wanting to know which girl in school Simon thought had the most rockin' bod. Maybe you should call the band the Sexist Pigs. It has a ring to it, Simon said, unfazed. Clary made a face at him, her messenger bag vibrating as her phone blared. She fished it out. She fished it out of the ziploc. It's my mom again, he said. Clary nodded. She could see her mother in her mind's eye, small and alone in the doorway of their apartment, guilt unfurled in her chest. She glanced up at Simon, who was looking at her, her eyes dark with concern. His face was so familiar she could have traced its lines in her sleep. She thought of the lonely weeks that stretched ahead without him and shoved the phone back in her bag. Come on, she said. We're going to be late for the show. That's the end of chapter 2. I'm gonna call it a night for tonight, and I'm gonna start with chapter 3 probably in the morning, or like if I wake up from like a nap or something. Then yeah. Bye.